We have Zion, Zion. If the wind blew vines over the grain, he must immediately make a fence. If a mishap befell him, it is permitted. If one's grain bent under a vine, also vegetables, he turns it back and does not render forbidden. When does grain become forbidden? When it strikes root. And grapes, when they become as large as white beans. Grain which has become fully dried, or grapes that have been ripened fully, are not rendered forbidden. A perforated plant pot renders forbidden in a vineyard, but one that is not perforated does not render forbidden. Reb Shimon, however, says both are unlawful, yet are not rendered forbidden. If one carries a perforated plant pot over through a vineyard, if it increased by 1/200, it is forbidden. In a vineyard, Kilayim may neither be sown nor maintained, and it may be forbidden to derive any benefit from it. Seed Kilayim may neither be sown nor maintained, but it is permitted to eat it and, of course, to derive benefit from it. Any benefit may be derived from Kilayim garments, and it is only forbidden to wear them, and it is permitted to wear to rear Kilayim animals, and it is only forbidden to breed them. Animal Kilayim may not be paired one with another. Okay.
Okay. Behema in Behema Chaya in Chaya, it doesn't matter whether it's considered a domesticated animal with a domesticated animal or a wild animal with a wild animal. Behema im Chaya, Chaya im Behema. The repetition is either just is why would you say Behema im Chaya and Chaya im Behema? It's obviously the same thing. Either stylistically or just to to emphasize that whether it's in terms of male and female or female and male, but that's it's more of a stylistic thing just to
Uh-huh.
to give you the whole thing. Because once you've said all of these things, Behema and Chayim Chaya, I'm not even sure why you would want to say Tameya im Tameya Tahora im Tahora Tameya im Tahora Tahora im Tameya, whether they are kosher species or non-kosher species. None of it makes a difference.
Right.
If they're not the same species, they are kilayim and asurin lachrosh v'limshoch ulahanhig. So in all of these cases, um, they're you're not allowed to plow with them together. Okay.
Mhm.
Also not allowed to have them pull a load. That's limshoch have them right. And lahanhig is to sit and drive them. What's the difference between limshoch and lahanhig is where there's a human working with them as well.
Bottom line is you can't get any hana from them.
It's I want to be careful about using that terminology because when we talk about Hana, when we're talking about Isser Hana, the only thing in Kilayim, as we just said, that's got an Isser Hana is Kilay Karim. If you
Mhm.
had, we said if you have two animals if you had Kilayim that plowed a furrow in your field, are you allowed to sow inside that furrow? Yes.
All right. Okay.
It didn't create any Isser. You get lashes for doing the action of doing the plowing, but the result is not actually forbidden.
Just lashes.
Yeah, just lashes, that's all.
That's all.
And that's the next Mishnah. Um, just there was something I wanted to add in here. Oh yeah, the reason perhaps the reason why we have all this mixture of like doesn't matter whether it's this one or that one or this one, whatever. It's all aser because that actually contrasts with another kind of kilayim, which is shatnez. The
Yeah.
only thing that's shatnez is wool and linen.
Right. Yeah.
Cotton, woolen cotton is fine. Cotton and linen is fine. Everything else, all other species, 100% fine to mix them together. The only forbidden combination is wool and linen. So the Torah spoke about an ox and a donkey. Okay.
Mhm.
But so you might think, oh, it's really just an ox and a donkey that's asked to plow together. But no, it's anything. Any two different animals. And that's just Masorah that we have in Torah Shebaal Peh. Okay. Mishnah Gimel, manhik sofeg is habayim. The person who leads the animals, who caused these two animals that were paired to plow together, he gets 40 lashes if he was properly warned about doing it. The hayoshe bekaron, and if somebody sits down in the carriage that's being pulled, he also gets 40 lashes. Rabbi Meir Poter. Rabbi Meir disagrees with this. Now, at first brush, you'd think, okay, or you get lashes for doing an action. And that sounds, it means that Rabbi Meir sounds like the reasonable one over here. And why would the Tanakama give you lashes? And
Mhm.
the explanation is that the animals that pull these carriages have learned that when somebody sits down, that's a signal to move.
So that's an action.
So that is an action. That is an action. By your sitting down, you're telling the animal to move. Which again, Rabbi Meir doesn't feel is enough, but the halacha does not follow Rabbi Meir. Hashlishis shehi kashur leritzuos asura. This last phrase is a bit difficult to understand on the in the too simply, um, because there are actually two different ways that people interpret it. The first way is that it's a that there's a third animal. So you've got two animals that have been yoked together.
Right.
Let's say you got two horses that have been yoked together to pull a carriage, and you put a and then you take a line from between the two of them and tie let's say a donkey in front of them. Right. So now you've got a triangle of animals over there. So the third animal over there that's even that's attached by a strap. It's asked to do that because it will also lend its weight to the pulling, even though it's not really necessary. Another way of looking at it is that let's say you've got um, two donkeys in front of the carriage, and the horse is at the back,
Yeah.
is tied at the back of the thing, which like typically animals don't push, they pull. But even strapping a horse to the back over there is prohibited because sometimes let's say it's big and strong and it comes and it's walking behind and then and bumps into the carriage and it also is going to push forward. Okay. Mishnah Dalet Ein koshrin es hasus lo letzidei hakaron velo la'achar hakaron. Okay, so you may not tie the horse either to the sides of the carriage and not behind the carriage. So even if it's a completely separate part of the whole setup, it's still one whole mechanism, and that's going to constitute kilayim. V'lo es haluvdikim legemalim, and these I think Libyan camels. Um,
Right.
these Libyan camels are not the same species as camels. They may not be put together. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, kol hanoladim min asus, af al pi she'avihen chamor mutar zeh im zeh. So if they have the same sireage, even though the animals themselves are kilayim, so you bought them all from a non-Jew who bred all these mules from a horse mother and a donkey father. So all of the offspring are permitted to work together, right? Because they're all the same species, even though the species itself is Kilayim from breeding, but in terms of Kilayim for working, they are the same species. Okay. וכן הנולדים מן החמור, אף על פי שאביהם סוס, מותרים זה עם זה. And the same thing goes on the other side if the mother is a horse and the father is a donkey. אבל הנולדים מן הסוס, אם הנולדים מחמור, אסורים זה עם זה. If you switch around the parentage and have mother horse and father donkey with father horse and mother donkey, and they're two offspring, even though they both look the same, they're both mules, they're different species because their parentage is different and they may not be worked together. Okay.
Um, okay, we're on to Hey Gimel. A ditch 10 fucking deep and 4 wide, which crosses a vineyard. But Eliezer ben Yaakov says if it traverses the vineyard from beginning to end, and then it has the appearance of lying between two vineyards, and one may sow in it. But if not, it is like a wine press. And a wine press 10 deep and 4 wide in a vineyard. Rabbi Eliezer says one may sow in it, but they can come and forbid it. A watch mounted 10 high and 4 wide in a vineyard, one may sow on it, but if the tips of the branches intertwined, it is forbidden. A vine planted in a wine press or in a cleft is granted a tillage space, and one may sow the rest. Rabbi Yossi says if there are not 4 cubits, one may not bring seeds there, and one may sow in a house located in a vineyard. And if one plants vegetables or retains them in a vineyard, he renders forbidden 45 vines. When? If they are planted 4 or 5 apart. If they were planted 6 or 7 apart, he renders forbidden 16 cubits in every direction in a circle, not in a square. Right.
The my.
Um, olive base. The Maya is not subject to a fifth and to removal, and it may be eaten by an onan. It may be taken into Yerushalayim and taken out again, and a small quantity may be left on the road, and one may give it to an Amaretz, but must consume its equivalent. And it may be changed silver for silver, copper for copper, silver for copper, and copper for fruit, provided that the fruit will be redeemed for money. So says Rav Meir, but the Chachamim say the fruit must be taken up in Yerushalayim and eaten there. If one buys for seed or for cattle, flour for hides, oil for the lamp, or for greasing animals, he is exempt from demai. From kitzib beyond, the one is exempt from demai. The challah of an amaretz and mixed produce, and what has been brought with masa shiny money, and the remainders of the field meal offerings are exempt from demai. Perfumed oil, Bet Shammai declares it liable. Beis Hillel says exempt. And the mind may be used for an erev and for partnership, and the blessing is recited thereon, and one invites on it, and it may be separated in it the nude or in dust. But if one is separated Ma'aser Sheni before Rishon, it does not matter. Oil which the weaver rubs on his fingers is liable to demai, but that which the woolcomer puts on the stool is exempt from demai. Yeah. Make a little mark here in my book. And we open some Sheeran.
Mhm.
Okay. Gimel Gimel. If one removes hot bread from an oven and places it in the mouth of a barrel of wine, uh, Rabbi Meir rules of the bread tame. Rabbi Yehuda rules the bread tahor, and Rabbi Yossi rules the bread tahor in the case of whole wheat, in the case of wheat bread, but rules the bread tame in the case of barley bread, because barley absorbs. Regarding one who sprinkles his house with water and then placed wheat there, and the wheat was moistened, if it is due to the water then it is included in the law of water is placed. But if it is due to the bedrock, it is not included in the law of water is placed. Regarding one who washes his garments in a basin and he placed wheat there, and the wheat was moistened, if it is due to the water is included in the if the water it is included in the law of water is placed. But if it is due to the kernels of wheat themselves, it is not included in the law of water is placed. Regarding one who moistens produce in sand, it is included in the law of water is placed, and there was an incident with the people of Achos who would moisten produce in sand. And the sages said to them, if this is what you have been doing, then you have never in your life produced flour in Tahara. Regarding one who moistens produce in dry mud, Rabbi Shimon says if it contains liquid sufficient to moisten it, it's included in the law of water is placed, but if not, it is not included in the law of water is placed. Regarding one who sprinkles his silo with water, we need not be concerned that perhaps he put wheat there and it was moistened. Regarding one who gathers blades of grass, when dew is upon them in order to announce a moistened wheat with them, they are not included in the law of water is placed, but if he intended this, it is included in the law of water is placed. Regarding one who transmits wheat to grind and rain fell on it, if he is happy, it is included in the law of water is placed. And when Yehuda says it is impossible not to be happy, rather only if he stood still. I am. Karen, Caleb.
Sanhedrin.
That I put this before. Okay, sorry. Okay. Um, you may smite a donkey train or camel caravan which passes from place to place, saves it, destroy it, and all that is in it. From here they derive that the possessions of the righteous which are in it are forfeit, while those who are outside it are saved, and those of the wicked, whether within it or without, are forfeit. As it is stated, all its spoils you shall gather in its plaza, into the plaza. If it has no plaza, they make one. If its plaza is outside, they bring it in. And if you shall burn the town and its spoils completely into Hashem your God, its spoils and not the spoils of heaven. From here they derive that the hektish objects in it are redeemed, the trumas are left to rot, and the ma'aser sheni and holy scriptures must be burned. Completely to Hashem your guard, said Reb Shimon. The Holy One, blessed is He, said, if you will carry out the judgment of my apostate town, it is as if you
Wait,
bring a
when you
burnt.
said the Holy Scriptures must be burned, I think you misread it. It should be buried.
You're right, right. I'm sorry. It should be buried. Completely to Hashem your God. But Shimon, the Holy One, blessed He, said, if you will carry out the judgment of the apostate town, then as if you had been a burnt offering before me, and it shall be mound forever. It may not be rebuilt at all. It may not even be made into a garden or orchards. And these are the words of Yossi Agili. Rabbi Akiva says it may never be rebuilt. It may not be rebuilt to what it was, but built what was, but it may be into gardens or orchards. And nothing of the bad matter shall stick to your hand, for as long as the wicked are in the world, there is an anger in the world. When the wicked perish from the world, anger disappears from the world. These are the ones who are strangled. One who strikes his father or mother, one who kidnaps a Jew, an elder who rebels against the word of a court, the false prophet, one who prophesies in the name of a false god, one who commits adultery. The Zomerman witnesses the daughter of a Kohen and the man who cohabitated with her. One who strikes his father or mother is not liable unless he makes a bruise, and this is the stringency of one who curses over one who strikes one who curses his parents after their death is liable, whereas one who strikes them after their death is exempt. One who kidnaps a Jew is not liable unless he takes him into his possession. And Rabbi Yehuda says, unless he brings him into his possession and makes use of him, as it is stated, and one made use of him and sold him. If one kidnaps his son, Rabbi Yishmael, the son of Yochanan ben Broken, renders him liable. The sages exempt him. And if he has kidnapped someone who is half a slave and half free, Rabbi Yehuda renders him liable, and the sages exempt him.
Yeah,
The sage, right? That's
that's
it.
it. Yeah.
Let me just see. Yeah. Yeah, a few more to go. And now Halem. Halem. Yud Ches Tet. A bed of which half was stolen or half was lost or which was divided by brothers or divided by partners is tahor. If they put it back together, it's acceptable to tumah from now on.
Where are you reading?
Yud Ches Tet.
In Kilayim. We've done Kilayim today.
You're right.
We're in Beta.
You're right. Okay. I didn't put it in my. I
Okay.
didn't put. I still have my tissue in there. Okay. All right. Okay. Mishna. Beitzah. Aleph Dalet. If you prepared black If he paired black but found white, white but found black, two but found three, they are forbidden. Three but he found two, they are permitted. Within the coat and he found the front of the coat, they are forbidden, but if there are none there except these, they are permitted. Beit Shammai says one does not return the shutters on Yom Tov, but Beit Hillel permits even to return. Beit Shammai says one may not take the pestle to cut meat on it, but Beit Hillel permits it. Beit Shammai says one does not place the hide before the treading place and may not pick it up, unless he has on it an olive bulk of meat. But Beit Hillel permits. Beit Shammai says one does not take the infant or the lulav or the Torah scroll into the public thoroughfare, and Beit Hillel permits it. Beit Shammai says one does not take challah or due to the Kohen on Yom Tov, whether they were set apart on the day before or were set apart on that day. Beit Hillel permits. Beit Shammai gave him a gezerah shava. Challah and dues are gifts to the Kohen, and truma is a gift to the Kohen. Just as one does not take the truma, so does one not take the dues. But Beit Hillel said to them, no, if you refer to truma, which may not be set apart, you say the name for dues that one is allowed to be set apart.
Okay. We're done.
I did three.
Yeah.
I did. I skipped one.